come across a book character that's like, I don't know how to do dishes, I'm always like, how? You literally just take the thing and you go Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be judging House of Many Ways, which is the sequel to Howl's Moving Castle. So just spoiler warning for Howl's Moving Castle if you have not read it. Let's get into the summary. Charmaine Baker, our main protagonist, has agreed to look after her magical great uncle's house as he is sick. She expects to get a lot of quiet time to read, but did not realize that this house bends space and time, contains a magical stray dog named Waif, and an apprentice that is really bad at spells named Peter. She also did not expect to be targeted by a deadly creature called the Lubbock, or to become central to the king's hunt for the lost gold and the mysterious elf gift that will save their desperate country. Alright, so we are now jumping into the non-spoiler review. Charmaine was very similar to Sophie, only less lovable. So Charmaine has led a very sheltered life, which makes her naive and sometimes very stupid, which allows for plot. But the thing is about her stupidness is that the book actually acknowledges it as she is being stupid and she realizes it. She also, however, proves herself resourceful sometimes and even smart. For example, when Peter shows up, because Peter just kind of like shows up and it's like, hey, the wizard's like expecting me, and she's like, the wizard's kind of like sick and like gone, so what are you talking about? He's like, just let me in, it's raining. And so then she's like, this kid might be like an evil creature or freaky person. And so she goes through the wizard's letters to see if Peter actually wrote one, which I was like, that's pretty smart and logical of you. Nice job. She also has a lot of ambition and curiosity. For example, in the very beginning, she writes a very bold letter to the king being like, hey, can I come work for you? And she's also a major bookworm. It bothered me so much that she never cleans up. It makes sense with her character and it's consistent with her character, but I wanted to clean that house so bad. There would be like dishes everywhere and like laundry bags piling up, and she'd be like, I'm gonna go read a book. And I'm like, oh. Thank God Peter got there to talk some sense into Charmaine. The world is a lot bigger in this book than Howl's Moving Castle leads you to imagine, and it has a very different feel than Ingary, which is where Howl's Moving Castle is set. The magic still works the same though, and I love how this magic works. The magical creatures in this book are super cool. Like, I haven't heard of any of them. A lot of fantasy stories will have the same basic like fairy, dwarf, elf, dragon, and they've grown so popular pretty much because of Lord of the Rings. But this book brings in a bunch of creatures that like I have never heard of, like the Lubbocks and the kobolds. Lubbocks are like these purple humanoid like bugs that will kill any human that walks near them, except during like, I think it says August and July, they'll lay their eggs in any human that walks by. If you get their eggs laid in you, and you cannot give birth to a person, then you will just die. But if you can give birth to something, then you will give birth to a Lubbocken, which is a super evil person with like purple eyes, so it's like half Lubbock, half human, so it's very nasty. Great Uncle William has a Lubbock in the mountains near his house, which is how we get to know the Lubbock. And kobolds are these like little blue people that will do chores for milk and cause as much conflict with humans as possible because for some reason they hate humans. The wizard employs them in his house to do his chores, so Charmaine comes into contact with both of those. I thought this was a very interesting way to do a sequel, because most of the time it just like picks up where we left off with Howl and Sophie and stuff, but this one we start off with completely different characters, and we don't actually meet Howl and Sophie for a while in there. And we never meet Michael or hear any mention of him, and I'm very confused as to why that is. They didn't even like explain it in a lazy way. They were just like, hey, remember Michael and how he ran off with that Letty or Martha or whatever girl? Remember that? Oh yeah. They didn't even do that. They were just like, we're not even gonna mention him. I really enjoy her plots. They are a very specific kind of plot, and they focus on more everyday problems instead of these big overarching conflicts. So this one managed to kind of focus on both at the same time, and yet kind of not. It's pretty much Studio Ghibli. I also really enjoyed the descriptions in here. They weren't repetitive and added to the everyday kind of plot. The descriptions of the mess in the house made me just Charmaine is very sheltered, and her great uncle's house is a very messy house, and so she doesn't know how to do dishes and laundry, and dishes I think are pretty self-explanatory. Whenever I come across a book character that's like, I don't know how to do dishes, I'm always like, how? You literally just take the thing and you go. There were also a lot more politics in this book than I thought there was going to be, which I was very surprised about, but those politics are spoilers. There were a couple of complaints that I docked it about. The action scenes in this book were very confusing and hard to follow, and I was like, what's going on? And I read them a couple times and I still don't know what's going on. And the other ones are spoilers. I gave this book 3.5 stars out of 5. So we will now be moving on to the spoiler review. So if you don't want to be spoiled and you're still looking to read this book, then click away now. Charmaine has led a very sheltered life, so she's sometimes kind of annoying, but I was fine with it because the narrative understands that she's annoying, and she goes through character development to become less annoying. For example, she burned a bunch of soap and like bubbles got everywhere or whatever, and she doesn't know how to wash dishes, which is a very self-explanatory thing, and she's like, I don't know how to do laundry, and then Peter's like, just freaking do the laundry, I'll teach you, jeez. But she also proves herself resourceful sometimes, and sometimes she's smart. It's crazy. For example, when the pipe burst and Peter spent all day just casting random spells and is like, I don't know what's going on, and then she comes home and she's just like, oh my god, and then she just squishes it together with her magic. She gets a bunch of cloths and like ties it together because the magic is like really weird and stuff. She also has a lot of ambition and curiosity, and she's very intelligent that way. I also appreciated how there was no romance between her and Peter, because they're just friends. There's not even a hinting of a romantic future between them. Not even a little bit. And I was like, bless. I think this is the first book I've read where that has happened. Where there has been a very open opportunity to make a love interest. Yeah, I really appreciated how he was not anywhere near a romantic interest. It bothered me a lot that she did not want to clean. I was like, just let me clean it for you. Peter was only the voice of reason, like, sometimes, because I mean, he was the only one who knew how to clean and was like, Charmaine, just freaking do the laundry. They had a whole day. Oh, they had a whole day, guys, where they cleaned, and I was like, yes, yes. I don't know if it's just me being like a neat freak, but it made my heart just go, yes. And I think part of the reason that the dirtiness agitated me so much was because the descriptions were so vivid that I could picture it. I was picturing my own kitchen, and I was like, oh my gosh, no. Howl and Sophie, as I predicted, make a great couple. It is so sad that they were not built up properly because they're so good together. Howl is a little kid for most of this. His name is Twinkle. Even though he makes a show about being this annoying brat, and he's like, oh, Sophie, he has a lisp or whatever, and she's like, do you have to freaking have that lisp? And he's like, yes. It was perfect. The reason that he's doing it isn't just to annoy Sophie, although he's definitely taking advantage of that, but it's also because he wants the Labakan prince to underestimate him, and so that he can protect their kid. And I appreciated how their relationship was focused mostly on just the friendship that they have, which you don't normally see. So I was like, Charmaine's dad was also really nice. It makes me wonder how many different views on magic there are, because clearly Charmaine's dad and Charmaine's mom disagree. And I'm also wondering how many trades you can use magic in, because he uses magic in his recipes. It's a very interesting way of thinking of magic, so I really like that. The building of this relationship is really cool too. They're like talking for like 2 pages, but we get to know Mr. Baker really well, and I think that this author does really well at characterizing characters really quickly and really efficiently, and also keeping their characters consistent throughout the whole book. The wizard's house was so cool. Oh my goodness. I thought the concept was okay when we were first introduced to it, but I was kind of like, okay, like Howl's Castle, but like bigger. You would go through a door, and if you turned left and turned clockwise, and you would end up in a different place, and it's very easy to get lost. It bends time and space in a very interesting way that I was like, okay. But when it was revealed to us that it moves through time as well, I was like, okay, that's a very cool thing to introduce. I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't used to its fullest extent, because it was mostly used because Peter was just like, yeah, haha, I saw, your great uncle, the great wizard or whatever, and I was like, yeah, she's got a fire demon with him, and then that's how he knows that she's the one who needs to take care of his house. So that's really all it was used for, and I was kind of sad about that because I thought that was a very cool thing, and I think that could have been used better. I really liked all the little references to all the different characters, like how you see how Peter's mom and Howell were both chained by Mrs. Pensterman. Where is Michael? What happened to this man? He's gone! Michael, who is he? I really liked how every letter from the king has random capitalized words in it, because it shows how he's trying to compensate for how desperate his situation is and how desperate his kingdom is at this point. The couple of complaints that I did have, the ending was very sudden. From where the action ended and where the book ended was very fast. It pretty much, they like killed the Labakan and the Lubbock or whatever, and then they were like, let's sit down and have some tea and explain everything that just went down. And I was like, oh, okay. Literally, they turned them into rabbits and they were like, Sam, go take care of the rabbit carcasses. Just like, get them out of here. We've got to have a talk. I was like, okay. It seemed like she's trying to do the same thing that she was doing with Howl's Moving Castle, where the first half was foreshadow and the second half was fulfilling that foreshadowing. But this book was all fulfilling and no foreshadowing. It made the last bit very sudden and weird. Like, Waif was the elf gift. This elf gift we've been hearing. What does this elf gift even do? Protect the king? Question mark? Maybe? I might have just be stupid and missed everything. How Peter's now the High King or whatever. It was all revealed in this long conversation after the battle, which was very boring to read. They just sat down and they're just like, yeah, we just killed the crown prince, but like, let's have some tea. The action is so confusing to read. When Calcifer destroys the Lubbock, and in the very last action scene where Twinkle gets kidnapped, or Howl, whatever his name is, they were both very hard to follow, and I read them multiple times, and I was like, what's going on? Also, we seem to be glossing over the fact that the witch, aka Peter's mom, married her cousin. As you know, the witch said, I married my cousin, Hans Nicholas. Charmaine went through quite a bit of character development. The way she maturely handled the kobold situation, she kind of butchered it like 2 seconds later, but like, that just shows that she isn't fully complete yet, and the way we know that is the narrative acknowledges that she needs to work on her tact, because Peter's like, you need to fix your tact, you idiot. Then later she resolves herself to be nicer to Peter, and immediately breaks her promise. She does this a lot, where she'll like be like, I'm gonna be nice now, and then she's like, never mind. She gets angry at Peter at some point for cleaning up her mess, because she's like, I just learned that when I put something down, it's gonna stay there and I've gotta clean it up for myself. I thought that was kind of interesting, because it shows us how being so sheltered affected her, and how she wants to be now independent, and how she wants to be better now. There were also a lot more politics in this book than I thought there was going to be. I was like, what? The state of the kingdom. They're going bankrupt and starting to sell all their oil paintings, and it's revealed to us very delicately. It's mentioned, oh, everyone knows the gold is fake. And he's like, yeah, I've long known my crown is false gold or whatever. And it's like, oh no. Also, the way the princess holds way more power than the king and is pretty much ruling instead of him, because the king clearly wants to retire. She's the one receiving all the guests and rejecting marriage proposals, and the one doing the majority of the diplomacy and ruling. And the way Prince Ludwig systematically killed all of his siblings, except for Peter's mom, of course. That is all I have for you guys today. I rated this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Bye! So if you are looking to have a review and not be spoiled, this is good. Oh my god.
We should like start this like before.
I was writing the freaking script.
I'm just saying, like maybe you need to like. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay. The world in this book shows that the countries are like the crown
Boy,
prince.
word.
This is the spoiler section, you idiots! Sorry, that was aggressive. I'm tired, I'm sorry.
This is the spoiler section, you idiot.
I'm sorry. Charmaine went through quite a bit of character development, the way she maturely handled